He says that a person should also take the following to heart. If someone puts his trust in mankind firstly, it won't help. As it says in Psalm 146, verse number 3, Tehillim 146, verse 3, do not trust in generous people, in mankind who has no salvation, even for himself. And the prophet Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 22, says something similar. It says, refrain from trusting in man whose soul breathes through his nostrils. For of what importance is he? Here we have a couple of examples of how David HaMelech and also the prophet Isaiah in essence say the same thing. He says, wait a minute. You're going to put all your trust, all your future, all your everything, and you're going to depend on a person? I mean, don't you realize that that person is just like you? He puts his pants on one leg at a time just like you. He has red blood just like you. If he doesn't, he's most likely a frog, not a human. What do you have so much reliability on him? Yeah, he's smart. Okay, so Hashem can decide to take off his wisdom. Yeah, but he's rich. Okay, so Hashem can take away the money. It's his money after all. Everything that you attribute to this person is not from him. It's from Hashem. So why do you have so much trust in him? Why do you have so much reliability on him? Why? For what? Don't you realize this is dangerous? And the prophet Isaiah and David HaMelech both say, not only don't you realize it's dangerous, you shouldn't do it. You should not do it at all. It doesn't say you shouldn't trust a specific person. It says anyone. You shouldn't have any trust whatsoever in anyone other than Hashem. And then the prophet continues, Jeremiah continues to up the ante a little bit. In chapter 17, verse number 5, the prophet Jeremiah says, cursed is the man who trusts in mankind. Not only is it something you shouldn't do, David HaMelech already told you, not only is it something that's really, really a terrible idea to do, as the prophet Isaiah said, but Jeremiah says something worse. He says, by the way, you did it, you trusted a person, you're bringing a curse on yourself. Why? Midah keneged midah. Measure for measure. That same measure for measure, you trusted in that person, Hashem can use that person to actually punish you. By making that person untrustworthy. By making the person you trusted as the one person that's untrustable. How many times did people trust in somebody? Like, for example, recent event that happened about less than 10 years ago. A lot of really rich people trusted in Bernie Madoff. And when you see the documentaries of people that suffered from losing their money from Bernie Madoff, you can't help but feel bad. But you don't necessarily feel bad for the money loss. You feel bad for the hopelessness that many of them have. Because this whole time, they believed they are the ones that made the money, and Bernie is the one that's going to help them either preserve it or increase it. At no point do any of them, even though most of them are Jewish, at no point was Hashem part of the conversation. Not to make it, and not to preserve it, not to anything. So these people trusted him, many of them trusted him for years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And you see one after another. This Abotai Kareem is not an only event, it happens constantly. There's a certain journalist that I follow from time to time. He writes about Ponzi schemes. A lot of Ponzi schemes, small ones, big ones, are not usually in the headlines all the time. There's a lot of Ponzi schemes that happen where there's a big scandal, don't usually hit the news unless you're in the business. So I like to follow this stuff because it's, first of all, I find it interesting how they still don't get the point. There's still con men reborn every day, and there's still suckers born every day, and they all do the same exact thing that's been happening for years. It's the same exact con, over and over and over and over again. It's like me telling you, okay, what's in my hands? Right one or left one? Which one has something in it? You say right. Okay, it's now. Okay, which one has one? Oh, it's left one. Okay. Which one now? I didn't do anything. Which one now? You still picked this one. But I told you it's here. And you still picked the wrong one over and over again. It's much crazy. But it happens over and over again. People think that, these things don't happen. They happen every week. Last week there was a $350 million one. 2 days before that he reported I think it was a $5 million or $10 million one. A day before that was a $3 million one. Actually, 2 weeks ago, it was an Israeli guy. Israeli guy from Los Angeles stole about a few $1 million from a bunch of his friends in Los Angeles. This stuff happens all the time. And it's sad. Why? Because the victims don't realize why this punishment came to them. They blame the guy. Yes, the guy is a thief. The guy is a thief. But that does not mean that he's the one that did it to you. He's a thief. He's wicked. But him is not who you should be faulting. Yourself is who you should be faulting.